Okay, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about colored pencils for those of you that could not make the Zoom meeting. This is what I shared with you. I have four colored pencils here. I've got my magenta, I have my pink, I have a peach, and I have my white. I'm going to show you some different qualities that you can get with your colored pencil. Again, we're going to use the side of our colored pencil, sharp lead. That way it is not scratchy or anything like that. And I'm just doing some little swatches here. So I'm doing a little bit of light pink here, pretty smooth. And I want to show you this technique called burnishing. Normally we would do this with a white Prismacolor. Since we are at home and we don't have those and I don't have enough to give out to everybody, we're just going to use our regular white Crayola color pencil. So after we put a smooth layer of pink down, I am going to press heavy with my white color pencil. And look at that. Look how it softens it up just a smidge there. Okay, it's called a burnish. You kind of get a shiny effect with the wax on it. This can also be done with starting with a darker color. I'm using my magenta here. And let's say that this is more of a warm color, like an orangey. I'm going to take my peach on top and do the same thing. I'm just going to do a little bit of peach on top of that, kind of gives it a warm effect. Then I can take my white and I can burnish over top of that, and it just kind of helps smear it all in. So those are some effects that you can get after you've put all your layers on. We've talked about that. The next thing I want you to do is we're going to draw a box. Okay, so let's get out our rulers, our straight edges that you have, and we're just going to draw a box. You've done these several times. And not a very big box. Just crack some colored pencil here. I'm doing this light, if you recall. We want to make sure that all of our pencil lines are very light because we do not want them to show up after the colored pencil is placed on our paper. Here I have my box. I'm going to erase, just kind of lighten things up a little bit in case if you've done it too dark. Now again, this is practice. When you go to do this on your final, you're going to definitely want to lighten up these lines because you do not want it to look like it's a color book. You don't want those dark black outlines. So I just lighten that up a smidge there. Now, what we are going to do here is we are going to take several different colors and we are going to do a box. Now, if you recall, every side of your box has a different value. So first of all, I'm going to pick out some colors here, and I'm going to pick out my purple. I'm going to pick out my magenta. I'm going to pick out a blue, and I'm going to have the base of my box be blue, I think. These are just some accent colors. So I want to get the opposite color, which is orange, because my base of my box is going to be blue. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a very light value, and with my blue, I am coloring the entire box. Please do this with me. Do this with me because I'm going to ask that you take a picture of it and post it, and you're going to get credit for it. So please make sure you're doing this. Again, you can see I am working on my sketchbook, and it acts as a blotter, and I am just doing a light layer. You can see that I can still see the pores through my colored pencil. I'm working in a soft swirling motion. And it's very smooth. I have the pressure is even. Don't have any scratchy lines. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decide where my light is coming from. I'm going to have my light coming from this angle here. This is going to be my sunshine or my light source. Okay. It's coming down from the top right. So I'm going to decide, well, I know that this front side is going to be the darkest since that's going to be on the shaded side. first thing I want to do, instead of using black, we use the opposite color. To find the opposite color, if you recall, we use the opposite of on the color wheel. So if it's blue, it's going to be orange. If it's green, it's going to be red. So I'm taking here, and I'm going to do a light layer, because we want to have at least 3 layers of color, at least 3 to 5 layers of color, and we're going to use 3 layers on every object that you do. So on this particular one, I'm just doing a light value here, and this is going to be a little bit darker too, so I'm going to take and I'm going to put a little bit of orange on this side. Now, it doesn't look like a nice blue box, because I see all that orange in there. So I'm going to come back with my blue, and again, I'm doing a light value. I'm working in a swirling motion. I'm just doing that there. Another layer here on the side. Now these two values are pretty much the same. We're going to want to darken this one, maybe just a smidge, a little bit more pressure, just so it looks different. But notice that I still have the pores of my paper showing through. Okay, so I'm going to darken that up. So there, that side looks a little bit darker. Next thing I'm going to do is I have chose 2 accent colors. You can choose whatever. If you're looking at your still life, if you look at the photograph that you have of your still life, you're going to see some different colors in there. Now, if you have a green box, you might see some blue, you might see a little bit of purple, maybe something is reflecting on that box from the photograph, and that's the colors you're going to see. If you see the color in there, that's probably what you're going to use. So I'm going to start off, and I'm going to use this purple as an accent, and I'm coming in, and I'm starting to fill in some pores. But not quite. You can see that I still have room to put some more layers on, so I'm not filling it in completely yet. Don't push too hard, too fast. The more layers you have on this picture, on your objects, the more 3D it's going to be. I'm going to do some purple on this side, and maybe I'm not going to go all the way up. Maybe I just see it at the bottom here, and it gradually just fades up there. Okay, and put a little bit on the top, so it's cohesive with the entire box. Now, I'm putting in an accent color, because let's say that my box is by a pink ball, or a pink Christmas ornament, or another box. I'm going to take and I'm going to do a little bit of pink. Ooh, that kind of looks nice and rich there. That's some nice colors going on. And again, going to darken here at the bottom a little bit, making sure everything is very even. Do the same thing on this side. Maybe just a smidge on the top, not much. Just a smidge, because that's where my light's going to be. Okay. So then I have that there. Now, one thing that some of you have those flaps that come down. So I am going to draw in the flap. Should have done that before. So let's just say here's my flap. Okay, it kind of gives me where I can go. Clear this up a little bit here. All right. Now what I'm going to do is, I think I like my color, so I'm going to go ahead and press a little harder. Again, you might have more than 5 layers on this, and I already do. not use black. Okay, black's the last color you're going to use. Okay, even if you have a black box, you're going to put an accent color with it. You might see a little green in that box. You might see a little bit of blue or purple. Whatever color it is that you see, that's the color you're going to use. And the top of my box here, it's going to be more of a blue because I didn't have as many accent colors to the top. It's going to be kind of a true color since the light's sitting on the top. You can see that looks more blue there. Now, it's kind of mushy, all right? So I'm going to come back and I'm going to do some accents to it. So I'm going to come in, and let's just say, I'm going to do this. Let's start with my purple. And there's going to be a shadow underneath here. I'm going to do a fade out. Look at that nice fade out. So it kind of brings that flap out a little bit. There's a little bit of shadow under there. Shadow goes up there. There we go, starting to come together. Go ahead and push a little bit more on this blue on this side. Maybe a little darker, maybe because my light source could be a little dark on the bottom. Same with the top. Sorry, the bottom here. This side should be my darkest side. So I'm pushing with my blues and my purples to make this even darker. Start filling up those pores a little bit. And then there's a lot of pores that are showing up here. Make sure they see that covered real good. Now, last thing you're going to do. This has kind of disappeared, hasn't it? So the last thing I want to do here, I'm going to take my black, just very lightly with my black, I'm going to push that shadow very lightly. Again, you don't want to dominate with the dark black and make it look like a color look. Just going to highlight that. Push that shadow in there a little bit so it kind of comes out. There I can see the folds. That's better. Now, what I can also do, the top's going to be light up here. Maybe I'm going to come in with my white color pencil, kind of burnish that top, kind of fill in those pores and smear that together. Do a little bit on this side if I want to. I can also come back in. Maybe you want to take some light blue and push a little bit. Okay, kind of up to you. Now, sometimes we lose the corners or the edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wedge cap, okay, my pink eraser, or if you have one, so I don't have an eraser in there. So I'm going to take my pink eraser. I'm going to take the corner of it, and I am going to just pull down on the corners and make these act as a highlight so I can see. And I don't want to overdo this, just a smidge. Oops, excuse me. And there I have my box. Okay, looks a little bit more three-dimensional. Next thing I want you to do, take a soda bottle, whatever you have. Okay, mine's Gatorade. I am going to draw a circle. Now, a lot of you have gold or silver balls on your Christmas balls on your still life. So I'm going to grab both my yellows, a little bit of brown. I'm going to come back with my purple. Okay, and of course my gold ball starts. There's a base of a yellow. I'm putting a base yellow in there. And I'm going to not erase the outside so you can see what's going to look like. If you fail to erase your dark pencil lines, I'll show you what's going to look like. So I'm going to do a gradation, both of my yellows, dark on the outside edges to make this look like a sphere. And notice I have left a little highlight right here. Okay, it's pretty light there. But that doesn't cut it. So I'm going to come back with my opposite color using a sharp pencil. Again, make sure your pencil's sharp. And very lightly, this purple's pretty dark, I am going to start on the outside edges. And I am going to create the sphere to look more three-dimensional by adding the opposite color of yellow, which is purple. And I'm not doing it very dark. I'm not hardly pressing at all. It's very light. And I'm lightening up as I go toward the center of my sphere. So I make it look like it's three-dimensional. Okay, pretty scratchy. I'm going to warm that up with some brown. Come back with my brown. That's more like a gold color. It's kind of pretty. And if you're looking at your photograph when you're doing these, you're going to see what colors you need to use. Again, I'm working a swirling motion, watching my pressure. I already have like 4 layers on here. Okay, starting to look around. I'm going to come back with my base color to kind of fill in the pores. I can press a little harder this time because I kind of like the color. Once you like the color, once you get the color where you want it, it's okay to go ahead and press. Now, I'm not going to press where the highlight is, okay? I'm going to let the white of my paper kind of show through. It acts like a highlight on my sphere. I can take my white, smear that together where that little highlight should be. Okay, and that's about it. What I can also do is my edges kind of rough. I don't want them rough. I want it to be smooth. I want it to look like a three-dimensional object. I don't want it to be fuzzy. So make sure you have a sharp pencil and you're sharpening up those outside edges of whatever shape it is that you're doing. There we go. There I have the whole ball. So once you have this complete, okay, I want you to photograph this. You're going to upload that for credit. And if you have any questions, I want you to email me. And I'm sorry that I missed you today. I will see you again next week.